Give it just a second.
Yeah.
Make sure it shows up. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for it to pop up here on YouTube. Perfect. We are live.
We are live.
So, welcome, everybody, to another Pokemon Rants. Today, we are thrilled to have with us Rob from RNG-Gamez. Built from the dust, blood, and probably more tears than he's willing to admit today. Rob has grinded through what we all would probably call success, but yet continues to throw himself into the fire to see what he can forge in the heat.
Wow,
so
that was good.
Weave in and out of the running a local GameStop, or game store, I should say, and doing that through a brick and mortar business, which is also a whole another ball game. So welcome to Pokemon Rants, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
We'll do the infamous and probably undesirable introduction, if you would, please, sir. Just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll jump in.
So, my name is Rob. I own RNG-Gamez. I opened up October 2 years ago. So, it's been crazy. It's been insane. But I wouldn't change it ever.
Still be here today.
Regardless.
Yeah. Yep. Well, with that, Rob, I think a lot of us probably have watched you for some time. I know I have, and I've kind of heard some of the story, but tell me a bit about your background. I think you, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I didn't mix this up, but you were actually working through Amazon sales, selling candles, if I'm not mistaken. Candles in different scents, trying to kind of work your way up. So tell me the background. Yeah.
So,
how'd you get here?
All right. It's all right. So I started originally, pretty much doing what, everybody would do, which is like going to yard sales and going to thrift stores, doing all that stuff. This is, maybe 2018.
Okay.
Not before really. Not really into cards right at the moment. I was when I was a kid, but the deal, you grow out of it or you stop. And so I started doing that. Then we transitioned after, sort of all the, I didn't want to go to yard sales anymore. I didn't want to do that. So I was like, let me try and transition into a business where I really don't have to, deal with yard sales and all this junk. So that's when I started doing like retail arbitrage and online arbitrage with like Amazon. So I originally started buying liquidations and things like that, like things that stores couldn't sell or whatever. So started buying them up left and right, like not a lot of them, just like a liquidation here, a liquidation there, bidding websites where you would just buy liquidations. So there's so many. So then after that, I sort of like got a little lucky. I found, I think it was like cell phone cases. It was like a thing of like, it was like 4,000 units or something like that of this cell phone case, obscure cell phone case that I was like, what the hell is this phone even? So I bought it. It was like $200. I was like, whatever.
It wasn't like a BlackBerry, was it?
No, it was something weird. I don't know what it was, but I forget. Whatever. I was like, whatever. If I just sit on these and I sell them all for $1 for years, who cares?
Make money.
But I did a test run, sent a bunch into Amazon, and like I sent in like 100 as an FBA seller. If anyone knows Amazon FBA, you label it, you send it into Amazon, they sell it for you. So literally as soon as it hit the warehouse, immediately sold out 100 units at like $19.99 a piece. And I was like, what just happened? So I sent them all in, and it was just like, after that, I was just like hooked. This was like the first item I've ever sold on Amazon. And I was like, this is so easy.
I can do this. I can make millions.
Yeah. But it's not that easy. I got really lucky the first one. That's what they say. The first taste is free.
That's right. That's right. Did that force you to make some bad decisions in the next couple of purchases? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I can't lose. And I just bought a whole bunch of junk. I ended up throwing out a lot of stuff. Then I got into books, doing books. That was a terrible decision, like textbooks and things like that, buying liquidations of that. But that just turns out to like people just liquidate the stuff they can't sell. And
exactly.
Yeah,
you try.
You can't, I can't sell them for a reason. But so after that, I got into online arbitrage, which was like buying things from Walmart to sell on Amazon. But, and that's when I pretty much hit the wax. That was so, oh my God, this is so stupid, but it made money. I would just buy wax from Walmart, Better Homes and Garden wax. It's not, they sell it $2 each. I would bundle 4 together and sell them for $25-$28 on Amazon. Like it was crazy.
Say something like you pulled up in the back of a Walmart and get a friend's truck to like unload
they
pallets.
Would literally just and me and my wife would just package these scents for hours and hours and hours, and I couldn't keep up with the demand of it. Like it was because this is when like COVID just started to like go crazy, and everything got shut down. So I had a huge backstock of things on Amazon, and things just started selling like crazy. And that's where I kind of rolled the money from all of that into the game store. So like going through the process of doing all the liquidations and things like that, I started opening up accounts with distributors just to get cards because I, wanted cards for myself because I had a business. I was like, let me just get cards. So this is when you could just literally call up the distributor and be like, could I have a case? And they were like, yeah,
sure.
After COVID, it was like, it wasn't like that. They were like, no, you can't get shit. And I was like, oh my God. Wait, could we curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So after that, I was like, you know what? Let me start a website, and I want to, try and start selling stuff through, the business and through Pokemon, and start doing Pokemon and start doing cards again. This is when I got back into Magic too, and I knew someone who owned a game store, and this is when. Oh, you probably were not going to know. It was Zendikar Rising came out. It was, it was a Magic set. I bought like 2 master cases of like collector boosters, and I was like, let me just see if I could open them up and sell them all on TCG Player. Let me figure this out. I just like figuring out like the minutia of a business. Yeah. So did that, and it was like really good money. But just like with the cell phone cases, it was a fluke. The first taste is free. So that's when, and that's when like there's the wheel started going and rolling about. I gotta open a card store. I gotta do it, and it just consumed me. And when I like something and something brings me joy, it consumes me. And I become just all in, just laser focused. Yeah.
So, obviously you made enough money from the wax and all the stuff you were arbitraging. Was it really big profit margins, or was it pure just quantity that got you there?
It was quantity volume. So that's basically why, transitioning into the card store was easy for me because I understood the business model of massive volume, low profit, and I was okay with it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So then starts RNG-Gamez. That's the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the beginning. So then you went looking for real estate at that point. And
I did, yeah.
That is not easy, man. How did you pick a location?
So I looked for over a year.
Okay.
And the location I picked was the first location I ever looked at.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So I was so nervous about opening because this is when I was still working full time. So I wanted to pick something really small that was risk-free, like under $1,000 a month. I was like, at that point,
You could pay for it out of your paycheck. if you
Yeah,
had to.
it's just
Yeah.
risk free, and I'll just keep doing Amazon if it doesn't work out. And then I was just like, oh, man, it's like 800 square feet or 600 square feet or 500 square feet. I'm like,
Small
this will
stuff.
work. And thank God I didn't, because I'm running out of space now. Even with the warehouse, I'm still like out of space. So
Because you're what,
thank God.
2,000 square feet roughly now?
The store is
The store,
1,200, which is small,
Okay.
and the upstairs is around 1,000. So we
Okay.
rent like the upstairs too.
Okay. And then the warehouse was something new you did recently this year, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because I remember you talking about. I don't know why we're going to do it, but I'm going to buy that warehouse. We're going to expand.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do it, but I'm going to.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I do something, I don't half-ass anything. I full-ass one thing, So
I like it. Did you? I know you mentioned. I think earlier in the videos, you were bringing in all of the inventory from your house to start the business. So that was kind of going back to the point of you getting the distributors. Was any of that your personal collection, or was that purely just what you were preparing because you kind of wanted to have a game store ready?
Yeah, I was preparing. So pretty much I was rolling like all the liquidation stuff and the arbitrage stuff and all that stuff into like, because I can only get Pokemon at the time, because you can't get Magic, you can't get Yu-Gi-Oh if
without a store.
So I was just like, all right, this is when like Celebrations first came out. So I was just like, let me stock up on all this stuff. So when I opened, I got, people were like, wow. First day sold out. So I was like, oh my
really?
God. Oh yeah. I had nothing on my shelves. Yeah. Nothing.
But you sold out of all your inventory on the first day?
Yeah. I was like, well, I guess I could just go home now.
You closed the doors until you got your next shipment in?
No. It wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. It was like 2 ETBs and like $400 worth of singles in a 1,200 square foot store. It was bad.
Come in, have a coffee, guys. Let's play a game.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. So that kind of gets us rolled into the business getting started and where it came from. One of the things you talk a lot about is also the work ethic. And you mentioned it here, going all in, but it's not easy to run any business, much less a local game store. Tell us a little bit about your work ethic and what does that really mean to have that level of success you've achieved so far?
I mean, you got to be okay with working. Like, it's not just 8 hours and you're good 9 to 5 and you go home. It's just not. Yeah, no, you're always on. Like, it's super important. You have to. If you're not uncomfortable working 12 hours in a day, then I would say, do not open a business.
Don't start any business,
especially especially this, but any business in general, but definitely not this. I'd probably say I got my work ethic from like my dad and my wife. My wife works crazy.
Crazy too. So you're both workaholics. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You mind me asking what your dad did?
He was a truck driver. He still works. He all night, 16 hours, but he had to because he had 3 kids and a house, and my mother was a housewife for the first 15 years we were alive, so he just had to.
I understand that. Yeah, I can definitely echo a lot of that on my side as well.
Yeah.
My mom worked 3 jobs growing up, and single mom, and I was staying in the night with friends' houses and my grandparents while my mom was working, and she'd come home and bring home food from whatever restaurant she worked at. So yeah, I can definitely understand. Yeah. So with the ethic in mind in terms of work, tell us, what does a day look like? Because if I watch your videos, I see you there in the morning, I see you there at the middle of the night. It looks like you're never not at the store. I would probably say you slept there. And maybe sometimes you do. But what does a day look like?
Not yet. All right. So basically, I try and get here early as possible, but sometimes, I do sleep in occasionally.
Yeah.
But
You
for the
earn it.
most
You earn
part,
it.
for the most part, we get here around like 9 o'clock in the morning to start shipping. Me and I have another person that works from 9 to 5 to help me ship and stuff like that. So literally, as soon as we get here, start pulling cards, because overnight is when we get the most
All the
influx of orders. Yeah. So start pulling orders. I handle the TCG player side of things while he, does the eBay side and in-store pickups and the other TCG player account. And
you have 2?
I have 3, yeah.
Why?
Well, each one does a different thing.
Okay.
So like one's tied directly to the store with the store inventory.
Okay.
Then I have the TCG Player Direct side of things, which is like all the bulk and things of lower value. And then I have a SYP account, which is it's called like Store Your Products. So that's when you send in a bunch of stuff to TCG Player and they sell them for you.
Okay.
So each one does a different thing. And then literally we'll ship from like 10 o'clock till 2, just straight. And normally we've got it to a science where we can like finish almost as we're opening the door, shipping everything. So
you open at 2 or 3?
2. Yeah.
2. Okay.
So, and then, he opens the store. I continue to do TCG Player because,
it takes more time
with direct and the return invoices and dealing with customer service, blah, blah, blah. And, running the Roca, running all that other stuff. I really don't, not that I don't trust anyone, just I'd rather be here. Tell you the truth. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I put on a TV, watch some YouTube, and just sort cards and ship out cards all day.
Every day, all day.
Yeah, and then 5 o'clock, I'll end up like, let's say if I got to cover the store, I'll run the store till 5 to 10, and then maybe come back to the warehouse to do a few more things and go home at midnight.
Midnight. Okay.
Probably, or sometimes later. It depends.
Yeah. It's a long day. Yeah, that's what I was wanting to make sure that we kind of shared, is just seeing that whole thing run through. We got a comment here from AA Cards, just showing some love.
Oh,
loving your content, Rob.
Thank you.
I'll echo that. It's been fun to watch, man, and you definitely pumped up the content in the past, couple of months.
Yeah,
man.
well, I had that, a couple videos that popped off, and I was like, let me ride this wave a little bit.
Because I think you're doing it daily now, so that's definitely been fun to watch. But yeah, okay. So then it kind of ends at midnight, and you kind of rinse and repeat. Are you 7 days a week, or?
I do work 7 days a week, but Monday we're closed, so it just takes a little bit of stress off the table from opening the store, and that Monday is pretty much when we get majority of the work done. Okay.
And that's when you get inventory as well, hopefully, from distribution.
That is a perfect case scenario.
Okay. Does it work out that way?
No. Because like when you get pallet deliveries, there's no tracking.
That it's like you're 3 stops away.
No, you get a phone call. I'm outside, and I'm like, I got no one to cover the store. Are you going to leave a pallet outside in the parking lot? Jesus, it's going to be gone.
They don't care. They just want to drop it and go.
Yeah. So that's the perfect case scenario. Usually they're pretty good with it. We've timed it to, when our ordering to when we get it on Monday, but sometimes doesn't work out.
Well, let's, you mentioned you're a little bit over 2 years now in terms of time. Looking back over this, you said you wouldn't change anything, but it's obviously been a huge ride. Is it your biggest kind of business venture so far?
Yeah, it's my only real kind of real business. I don't really consider the Amazon thing and all that other stuff like I mean, of course it's a real business. People make money on it and have real businesses, but I I feel as though like if you're not like if you don't have an actual physical location, I don't oh my God, I'm gonna sound like an ass. I don't consider it a real business.
Okay, so online stores don't count. That's
Oh
what
my
you're
God,
saying.
I'm gonna get so in traffic. They don't count.
Uh,
No,
But
no,
no,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know a lot of online sellers, and they're really, really good people. You
no,
know,
I'm kidding.
believe me.
But there's a difference, obviously. That's your point. There's a difference.
Yeah,
It's not that one
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Right, right,
But
right.
no, running a physical store obviously has its own animal to attack. When it's in terms of the rent, you got all the utilities. You typically gonna have employees. Whereas if you're online only, you can kind of play it a little safer, keep it close to the heart. And yeah, I understand. I was just poking at you,
Yeah.
man.
There's so many moving parts. You know, when I was on, because I did online only. You know, it's like, okay, you pre-order what you need to pre-order. There's no singles. There's no, you know what I mean? It's like there's no market to keep like cards in store. You don't have to worry about like you just don't have to worry about all the little minutia. And
It definitely changes.
Yeah.
And anybody who's never ran a physical store before, you have an idea, but I'm sure Rob can say what it was before this and what it is now. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Going back though to the 2-year mark, are you seeing this as a retrospect on where you've been? I know you said you wouldn't change it, but is there anything in the midst of this that you would have done a little bit differently? Maybe different location?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of like in the cut a little bit, like in a shopping center. So it's not the best for like visibility.
Drive by. Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as rent, it is very, very below market that I'm paying because I just got in right after COVID. They were giving stuff away. You know, we got in very affordable, but I would have went with something double the size.
So different location and double the size.
Yeah, with a warehouse attached. But that's me like speaking
where you are
from
today.
now. Yeah.
Right.
You know.
That's easier to say, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I had a panic attack when I initially dropped off my rent deposit to the broker. I was just like, I actually turned around and left, and then came back the next day. They seen me They said, "Where'd you go yesterday?" I was like, "Oh, I had an emergency. I had to go." Meanwhile, I was pouring sweat and like about to die from a panic attack.
Well, you're dropping a lot of money there because it was also deposit and everything, right? So I mean,
deposit first and last. It was a lot of money.
And you knew once you signed that contract, that was it. You're in.
Yeah, 5 years.
You did 5.
That's it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the only way to like get the best
the price
rate
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go multiple years, 3 minimum, typically when you do any leasing of space. Did you Retro already giving me some crap here? Yeah, Retro, watch it at twice the speed. It's going to be slow, man. It's going to be slow. Enjoy it. Either sit back and relax, sort some cards, or check it back tomorrow at twice the speed, man. These guys are the ones that I've had on the channel before and some friends, and they always give us some crap in the chat. So we'll see where it goes. But no, yeah, going a couple of years on the lease always gets you the best price, but it's also at least good in the beginning because you can typically lock it in. So they haven't tried to raise it on you or anything yet. So you've been able to maintain it.
Yeah, I negotiated that into it. So I didn't want have any raises. This is it for 5 years.
Are you going to move as soon as it's over?
Probably. Yeah.
Well, then you got 3 years left to cover the renovations that you're talking about today, right? So changing it up, and you won't lose it for another 3 years. That's good.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there was a bank in the same shopping center that I was going to rent before they sold the building, but the new landlord just wants an ungodly amount of money. I'm just like, what the hell? This ain't Manhattan.
Because you're where again? Tell me where in New Jersey?
South Plainfield, New Jersey.
Okay.
Very small town. Yeah.
Okay. Would you move to a completely different town? I mean, is it close to where you live, or would you try to position?
So close to where I live.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to be, 15 minutes from home, but it's not looking to be realistic with,
okay,
the margins on this stuff, unless I grow like I have the past 2 years. I mean, if I continue, we'll be okay, maybe, but I don't know.
I hope you do, man. Sincerely do, man. Wish you the best. Tell me a bit about your growth on YouTube lately, and has it helped your business? Obviously you've had a couple of videos to pop off, and it's usually when you're in trouble, unfortunately.
Yeah, everyone sort of gravitates towards negativity, especially on YouTube.
Unfortunately, I know Alex talks about that a lot.
Yeah, it's either I told you so, or or people, it's either or. So it makes a lot of interaction.
Unfortunately,
yeah. But I did see a little bit of a boost, especially with online sales.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So you see that rolling in, and with more subscribers, more interactions, people start checking out your stores. It really pumps up on online. Good.
Yeah, it became prevalent and sort of eye-opening that I definitely have to revamp my website because it is terrible. It's not good.
Well, you got to start somewhere, man. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Are you doing a lot through the website, or are you doing most of it through TCG Player? Because I know you get a lot better fees if you go straight to the website in terms of your business perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sell any sealed product on TCG Player or eBay or anything like that. Like as far as booster boxes, majority of the booster box sales are done either like in person on like through Patreon and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, the online is nice because especially if you're able to get past some of the fees, you're typically just working on the Shopify, whatever store you have, plus the credit card transactions, so that you keep it single digits, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
So do you do the sealed on your site?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, through the website, 3.5%, whatever it is. It's like, you could sell a box technically at I don't even know, man. No, you can't even sell a Pokemon booster box for what they're selling for online, even through the website, and still make money because you got to ship it.
Yeah. By the time you ship, and then the credit card fee, it's gone. You're already lost. Yep. Might as well just set it aside, pull Rudy, and wait 5 years and come back.
Yeah. Good thing the leagues are going well because we get 20 people and they all get 3 packs when they enter. So like just league alone, we blow through 3 or 4 booster boxes in a day just in prize support. So that helps with moving stuff.
I think I paid $5 to play per event. Is that right?
What do I charge 15.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're guaranteed 3 packs. And if you go 3-0, you get a bonus 3 packs. So you get 6 packs.
Okay. And do you also get the play packs when it's tournament play?
Yeah.
Those are
one
important. Yeah. I think you mentioned it today as well, and then the video.
Yeah, they supply us with a healthy amount of them. So like we normally don't run out until like the last week, which is the last week we get another shipment. Which I don't know if they must time that, or I don't know what they do.
They know. Pokemon's pretty smart. They're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good segue into what's your perspective? As you know, you can tell from the name, Pokemon Wonder, this is a Pokemon channel primarily, but how do you see the different TCGs? You talked about it a little bit today in your video, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon being a heavier in-store events. But looking at it overall more holistically with Magic and everything considered, even now Lorcana, what do you see as the dynamic between the TCGs? Do you get a lot of crossover? What's the biggest ones you have? Where do you make the most money?
Oh, yeah. So crossover, not really much. I mean, Pokemon with Lorcana for sure.
Okay.
That there's tremendous crossover with collectors and players.
Okay.
Magic, there really isn't much crossover. It's either you play Magic or you really don't play anything else for the most part, at least in my area.
It's kind of like the skateboarders and the rollerbladers back in the day.
Yeah. You're one or the other.
You got to pick one.
But as far as making money, I'd say you make more money with Pokemon, but sell more Magic, if that makes sense. You do the volume with Magic, but you make the margins with Pokemon, especially like because things are a little cheaper, especially when it comes to booster boxes and like these V boxes that Magic normally doesn't have that kind of $20 price point of an item where kids come in or parents. There's not that like middle of the road price point item with Magic. It's kind of like everything starts at like $40.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're just getting packs. But Yu-Gi-Oh is great too, with as far as margins, because you could spend half as much on a booster box but make the same margin as Magic. It's like, what do I want?
Are your prices better from distribution too? And for Pokemon, that is.
I do, yeah. They are a little bit better, than Magic. I spend probably, I would say, on average, 20% less when ordering a booster box in comparison from Pokemon to Magic. Magic to Pokemon. I spend 20% more to get a Magic box than a Pokemon box. Right. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And that helps a lot, obviously, with the margins as it goes to you. But you typically do most of that on site. Do you do in terms of sealed, that is? But is your TCG a lot online for Pokemon as well in singles, or do you just mostly do most of that in store?
Just Magic. I just sell Magic on TCG Player.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
is that by choice?
Far as space. Like we have 450,000, cards, Magic cards we're running out of space. As far as singles,
just 500,000.
Yeah, I mean my current setup can hold 1.5, I think, before things get crazy. But like if I did Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh as far on TCG Player, it would get too much, and I have too much volume already just with Magic.
Sounds like I hear you brewing up a new store expansion and hiring some employees is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, I do. I do want another location, yes, but I have a very hard time to let things like run themselves. Like I have to be I'm a micromanager, not when it comes to my employees, just when it comes to like
the business details.
Yeah, knowing where things are going and how things are running.
Well, I always make the comment in my day job that you can't effectively manage what you don't understand. And once you get so far separated from what's happening in the business, then you're just operating more on book smarts and general concepts, and it usually doesn't go too well. No. Yeah. So I can understand your perspective for sure. But going back maybe to the comparison of the TCGs before I do that, actually. Yeah, exactly what I was saying, Alex. So, I probably will never be anywhere big channel, and that's perfectly fine with me, but I'm not going to be jumping on the bandwagon too much. There's enough negativity out there, and I'll let somebody else do it. I'll be the positive one, and I'll join you on that parade there, buddy. But no, it does grab a lot of attention for sure, unfortunately. But that's just the way people are. That's why everybody slows down for the car crashes. It's just life.
Yeah.
Just life, man.
As I'm yelling at everyone, I was like, "You haven't seen anyone get to an accident," and then I'm looking too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
"Hurry up!"
Yeah.
Then you speed up. It was okay. It was okay.
It's okay for me to do it, but not you.
Exactly. Do as I say, not as I do. Right. Looking, but back at the comparison, do you see one being stronger than the other one? Especially when you think about the longevity of TCGs. Most of those have been around.
They're not going anywhere, I don't think.
Yeah.
None of them. I mean, as far as like the the newer stuff, they, Flesh and Blood and One Piece and, MetaZoo. I don't want to talk about that game.
Are you into those as well in the store?
Oh, no. I mean, Flesh and Blood, I did. I tried. I really tried my hardest. But especially with any new card game, once someone finds a store with a new card game, they're going to stay there. It's going to be very hard for them to branch out and look at other stores because they have their play group ready and it's, a smaller game. So they got to hang on to it.
Right.
We tried for like 6 to 8 months. I think the most we had was like 3 people come to a Flesh and Blood event.
Wow.
And yeah. And it just became to a point where I was just like, it's just not worth it for me to try anymore. So I stopped trying to hold events. I mean, I still sell the product. I still buy it when I want to have it for the store or, Patreon, the people on there want it. I still, buy it and sell it. But as far as like holding events or stocking singles, I don't do it anymore. Just not.
Right. So then it's primarily going to be Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic. That's your 3 focuses.
Those are my 3 focus with Lorcana kind of muscling in on the turf a little bit.
Yeah. How's that going? I mean, are you already doing play and everything?
With what product?
The one that's on the truck that they're going to call you about on 3 days to say it's in the back.
I wish I had a truck of that. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
It sold out quick.
Oh yeah. Our my first allocation was only 24 boxes.
And I heard the comments that they're not even, doesn't have any cellophane or anything on it. Was that the way you received it as well?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Strange.
You could just look right in and just, I'll take that pack, that pack, that pack. It's just, they put a little pull tab on the bottom. But I'm like, what's that pull tab do when you could just like reach in and
on the side? Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like holding it for a very long time, I don't see people trusting that product in 20 years from now. To, you know what I mean? To buy it and to open it. Like people are going to be like, no.
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you had a sealed case, but I don't know. That'd be maybe the only way.
They didn't use special tape on the cases, really. It's just like, I mean, you can get that tape anywhere. It's just
the stop tape. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. People always are like, especially if someone buys a sealed case and like it's a little like dented or pulled up like the tape. They're like, no. I'm just like, it's just tape. It's just tape. You can get it anywhere.
We could actually just retape the whole box and nobody
would
can
get it on Amazon. Like, just it's whatever. But
that's when you get into the collectors. Yeah. I knew that's where it was going because anybody that's collecting or holding, trying to maximize that, they want to be minty as possible. Any little hole or ding or scratch, I need a refund.
Yeah. The R word.
Don't worry. I won't make you talk about refunds. We'll skip that one. I'll force you on the introduction, but not the refunds. Don't worry. So talk about more of the sales channels, perhaps, because you mentioned 3 different sales channels on TCG Player. You have the local store. You have your website. Are you doing Troll and Toad or anything else?
No, I never seen like the merit to do Troll and Toad or anything like that because, they like kind of are a direct competitor. So it's like, I don't want to sell on their platform when I'm competing against them on other platforms.
Right.
It's just not, I don't know. Plus, it's just another thing to manage. I can't.
There's still, another 12 hours in your day, man. You can
right?
work 12. Yeah. I mean, don't be lazy, dude.
Sleep faster.
That's what Arnold said, right?
Yeah, that's exactly where I got it.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, I listen to a lot of that stuff. So now you think you need your 8 hours? No, just sleep faster. That's right. Yep. Tell me then, because I haven't had any experience. I've done some TCG Player experience, but I haven't done the direct. I haven't done ship your own products. how does that work out for you? Do you really focus on specific areas of the business to send to that area? And is that really taking a huge workload off of the internal business that you're doing every day with your employees? And how do you separate what you do between the three of those?
I'm sorry. Someone texted me right in the middle of that question. It was my employee downstairs. No. No. I don't need to go.
Okay.
I just need you to re-ask it.
No worries. How do you distribute your inventory and selling approach across the 3 different areas of TCG Player?
Right. Okay. So one account is integrated with everything. So like the store inventory, like let's say I do a buy list and someone comes in, buys cards sells cards, that gets inventory to the store inventory, which then gets pushed to one TCG Player account, my eBay account, store inventory, and everything. And then, I run a kind of separate business in the business, which is the TCG Player Direct and SYP account.
Right.
That is mainly for like doing massive box openings and things that, I think I can get a positive ROI on as far as selling.
Okay. That makes sense. And do you run those as separate entities, or they're on one entity, one tax ID, all that kind of stuff?
Yep.
Okay. And I've always asked anybody who's running a business, what do they have it formed as? Is it C Corp, S Corp, LLC? What do you run?
LLC.
Okay. Is there a reason you chose it over a different one, and any benefits?
Not really. I mean, I was going to try S Corp for a bit, but then we kind of like grew a little bit, and I just didn't want to have like the S Corp status because of I wanted the limited liability and not I would want it to be tied to the business just in case.
Right.
I didn't want to be responsible.
I understand.
Yeah.
Keeping it out of the house, right?
Yes.
The fire
Don't take
catches,
my stuff. Take the business's stuff.
Take it all, but leave my house alone. My dogs.
Yeah.
All right. We do the same, but I was always curious because there's different approaches and different strategies, and I'm always curious on how people set it up and why. And sometimes you always get a different answer, but sometimes it's interesting. We already talked about location, but I didn't quite hear where you thought you might move to. When you move, where would you want to move? Because obviously having that local play seems to be a big part of the inside store sales. Would you want to move to somewhere really high priced and bustling with a lot of people, high visibility, just somewhere in the middle?
I mean, I would, yes, but to be completely realistic, card stores and game stores, it's more of like a destination type thing. So you can be kind of a little bit off the beaten path and still get traffic because people are going to look for you.
That makes sense.
I'm not really worried about that like foot traffic of just the average person walking in the door because they're not interested in this. It's very it's very niche.
Okay.
So
it's a good point.
It's hard to kind of capture that new person into this. They usually come with someone.
You could always have like a Charizard flipping a sign like in the front. And
yeah. That's what I did on grand opening at a Pikachu.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
my wife and my wife's sister did it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did it actually get traffic in?
I don't know, to tell you the truth, because I was just a whirlwind. I had a line out the door.
Really? On the first day?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was like kind of right there when Celebrations first came out. And I was like, I'm going to have Celebrations. It. Yeah.
I've been stocking up for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Selling wax to buy Celebrations.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. We kind of hinted at it a little bit, Rob. What is your thoughts on the second store, man? I know you talked to Mason a little bit too. He's kind of expanded and contracted and expanded again.
Yeah.
What's that trigger point for you in terms of moving into a second store and really taking the next level?
Yeah. I mean, I would have to do it with someone That would be the most realistic thing, because, I opened this store alone. A lot of people do it with, a business partner or another friend who's into cards, but I started alone. So I really don't like having partners. So it's going to be really hard
I was about to say
for me.
that previous comment about being in somewhat control is going to be a challenge there. And
and I haven't found like a person that not that I trust, but that I trust to run the business and the name of the business.
Right.
To the point where, I would put them on a salary and management level and stuff like that. I just haven't found that yet. And that's probably more of a personal thing with me than me actually having that person, because I probably do. It's just, I'm always like, I'll do it. Don't worry, I got it. Just, and I always want to do everything, and I have to learn to be better at giving people control.
Yeah, that comes with time and experience, and just going through the hardships, and much like everything with the customer, making the orders and getting the returns and the complaints and the bad feedback and all the things you've talked about. The same thing will happen with employees and giving up that responsibility. Yeah. Some people will be awesome. Some you'll want to fire in the first week. So.
Yeah.
We'll talk about employees in a minute, though. We'll save that gem for a few minutes. One of the things a lot of us here in the chat and in the Pokemon space talk about a lot is investing around the topic of TCG. And I know that from a business owner standpoint, it's very different. Yeah. Like investing, because you're tying up capital and inventory, and you got to churn through the next order, and you got the next, couple of sets coming out, you have to spend money on. It doesn't go well together. Those two things clash. But what is your perspective on TCG investing as a general concept? I know you've thrown a couple of comments about the MTCG or Magic Finance. You dropped that a few times, and I'm not familiar with it, but I'm imagining it being something like Pokemon investing. But what's your thoughts?
Well, as a store, I especially starting out, you really can't do it. Like you can't. Even keeping a case, if you really think about it, like you're tying up $600, because that could be a lot for some people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to turn that into something else, and to something else. By the time the price appreciated, I could have flipped 1,000 other things and churned the money and kept it going. It's a lot different from a customer side, just buying it, sitting on it, and because you enjoy it and you just look at it. But for me, it's just it ties up just that money where I could just turn it and churn it and just keep churning it. That's this whole industry. You just got to keep it going. It's never ending, and it's just relentless. And tying up even the smallest amount sucks.
Did you ever do it before you started a store? I mean, you said you like cards, you kind of collected them then. Did you hold them for the purpose of future value?
No, I was more of a player. Yeah.
Okay.
I played a lot from 2002 to around, earlier than that, like 98 to 2004. I played Magic.
Okay. Because I think, one of the things that comes with business is managing the finances so tightly to maximize profits in the month and the quarter. And when the concepts of investing comes into play in TCGs, at least again from my perspective of Pokemon, it's usually multiple years and sometimes even decades. Yeah. So from that view, then it just doesn't. Those things don't go well together.
Yeah, you got to think of it like the stock market.
Exactly. You're not taking your money out every month to cash out. You're just sitting there and you're waiting. And it's a very similar concept, and I think Alex from Nostalgia Anonymous here talks about it a lot. And I think the biggest issue in what the message typically is that the flipping mentality of it, and I don't mean flipping in that sense, but the flipping product, that is. And retrospects here in the comments, he's more of the flipper, international flipper, I call him. But it changes the point of view that you are going to have to spend a lot more time investment to have that flip, to work through it, to ship the orders. And Alex, one of the main points from Alex is always going to be that if you don't have the time, you have a full-time job, you have other things going on, you want to drop a couple of cases in your closet and just let it ride, it's probably going to be a pretty easy bet. You get 20, 40, 60% and check back in 5 years and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. And I think that's the biggest difference is the time you're willing to spend. And if you're willing to spend a lot more time, and Alex makes the point pretty well as well, I think in the recent video, you tend to be able to make a lot more money. You can make it, profit margins are far higher, but you got to spend the time. And I think that's the key difference.
And boxes, Pokemon, especially, that Pokemon and Magic, I would say 99.9% of the time, the boxes go up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of risk-free in a way, because it's really not going to go down. Even if it stays the same, it's going to adjust for inflation. It's going to adjust with the inflation. So it's kind of risk-free to park your money in Pokemon, Magic, anything really.
Yep.
That's why you can invest in this and it be beneficial and work out for you, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
You can't.
I mean, I keep one case from every set.
Oh, you set those aside?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask you about some of the things you might set aside, just thinking, hey, maybe this will be a good one in the next 5 years.
Yeah. I normally keep a case from every set.
Okay. All right.
Just started recently because I couldn't afford it for a while. So
I think when you, what was that last set you bought that you got hammered on? What was it from Magic?
I don't even want to talk about it.
No, you don't have to. Well, just the name.
I'm kidding. Commander Masters.
It was Commander Masters. Yeah. Because you made a comment when you were talking about that you might have to go back and open up some inventory you had set back and say, okay, so he does keep some back. And maybe that's a good idea, good way to get out of a tough spot.
I mainly do that for, the Patreon. I want people to have
I see.
wide stock of inventory, not a wide stock, but a decent selection that they can order from at any time. It's not just a, pre-release and you get the product and then there's nothing else until another release. I want people to be able to have things they want.
How do you run your Patreon? What's the setup? Because I've never participated in one.
What do you mean?
Like they basically pay a monthly price and then they get distributor prices. Is that
pretty
the way
much,
it works?
Yeah, as close to distribution as possible, humanly possible. Because I still have to ship it. I still, there's still fees that people don't see on the distribution side. Like they charge us a percentage just to order stuff, a handling fee, this or that. It adds up, but as close to humanly possible.
Okay. And do you do that like once a month? Like what's the interval that you kind of host it?
I have a fully fledged, fully functional website just for my Patreon members.
Just for Patreon. Okay.
Yeah.
So they can place those anytime.
Anytime.
Okay. That's cool. That's another source of revenue.
There's certain tiers in the Patreon where certain lower tier members can only order once a month and higher tier members could just have unlimited ordering power and just order whatever they want.
Yeah, I've thought about participating in some of them, but I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So we'll see. Maybe I'll join yours, Rebels. You got Pokemon in there?
I do.
Okay. No celebrations left?
No. That was day one gone.
But no, I'll check it out, man. Yeah, I haven't looked too much into those yet, but it seems interesting. Maybe if we look a little bit now at the numbers, and you let us know where you're willing to go with this. But I was curious, maybe some things around products and inventory. You kind of mentioned 450,000-ish, single cards. I mean, what kind of sealed
That's
inventory
just
do you have to?
yeah, that's just the direct side. We also have the store inventory, which is probably like 150,000 cards, but of decent value. You know,
Okay.
they're
Because you keep like
like
what, over 35 cents it was or something like that?
well, normally like when I buy cards, I only buy list cards that are over $3.
Okay.
You know, you have to, if you're going to sell, I'm not going to buy, you know, dollar cards for the store. It's just, I find that
That
in
makes
bulk.
sense.
You know, yeah, I don't really need to buy $3, $2 or $2.50 card. I don't know, you know, I find those in bulk all the time. So I only buy list cards over $3. And if they're over $3, they're normally playable or somewhat wanted. So that's the store inventory. Each player direct, it's just chaos. Anything.
Do you drop most of your sealed? No, you said you don't do sealed on TCG, so it's all in store. So
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I remember correctly that you're doing roughly 1,000 orders per week in TCG? Is that roughly what I heard?
A lot more than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, since Commander Masters, I mean, we were on track to do like 10,000 orders in a month. It was like
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. But then, you
Wow.
know, it slowed down, obviously. But normally it's probably around, as far as we handle ourselves, probably like 6,000 to 7,000 a month.
Wow.
Individual card orders. Yeah.
Wow. Are you doing all those with white envelope and just the traditional
Yep.
TCG? Yep. Okay. Slap a stamp on it and you're done.
There's one. I'm so glad I, you know, hired my shipper in the morning and everything like that, because I actually got a repetitive stress injury in my wrist from folding pieces of paper. I was wearing a brace. I swear.
You hear that, people? The strains of being a multi-$1,000 card seller is you get carpal tunnel in your wrist.
Make the big bucks.
Do you only have one employee though to help you out?
I have 5.
5. Okay. One was just for the shipping purposes though.
Yeah, I have one just guy who just ships for me, and that's it, pretty much.
Looking at your yearly sales, I remember you mentioned it earlier on. I don't know if you've done it too much recently. What's your actual sales in a given year? Maybe if you closed this year on the current trajectory, for example.
We're on track to do over 7 figures, like
congrats, man.
multiple 7 figures.
That's great.
Which was crazy from last year. We didn't even come close to that. We didn't even come close to half that.
That's awesome, man.
It's just, yeah, dude, just growing so aggressively. I reinvest every penny into this business.
Which goes back to that I can't hold a $600 box.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Big congrats there, dude. I know I was listening to some of the early stuff, and I remember when you were hitting like, you know, $500,000 and $250,000, you know, and some of those, it may have been over a quarter of the year. I don't remember the exact time frame, but those are huge milestones, and you were excited.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. The first year, I think we did 600,000, and I was like, I'm the best.
I can't lose.
Yeah.
Double down. Let's buy a warehouse.
Yeah, I don't do much thinking when it comes to, I just go right in. I'm like, I'll figure it out when I get there. That's literally how I do it.
Which I think is awesome, because you made a comment, actually, you made a whole video about it recently about just jumping into it. And I was listening to one of the things I listened to in the morning, just motivational stuff. And Jordan Peterson made the phrase, I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it. Let me see. It was, the willingness to be a fool is the precursor to transformation. And, you know, it goes into the idea of just jumping straight in, and it's okay. We'll figure it out, and we'll get it along the way.
Something my wife used to say to me when I was like looking for real estate and whatever, she would just say, jump and the net would appear. And that's just literally how I run my business.
which may be a great segue into the Commander Masters.
Yeah.
And I know that Mason gave you a good shout out today as well, or yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was awesome. But I don't. Was it 130? I don't think it was. It was.
I was 160.
It's even more. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So kind of tell us, I think now it's all kind of gotten ironed out and you maybe broke even based on what I heard you say. So it's not as bad, but
it gets convoluted once you have so much inventory. You know what I mean? You can't really, you don't know
singles get lost.
Yeah. It's just like, am I selling just from this? And then it's like, you have so many different singles. It's like astronomical.
Whatever. Dollars in, dollars out.
Yeah, that's all it is. And I'm just like, I think I broke even. I mean, I have some other stuff, and I'm like, we're bank account's positive again, so we're good. All right,
let's buy something else.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the story, because I think the audience here may not know. It's the Pokemon side of it. So, what kind of happened leading up to that, and the big purchase, and just a short one. You don't have to go through the whole detail if you don't want to.
You know, we have to order things so far in advance that you don't even have a product image yet. It's just a name for Magic, at least. Because Pokemon, you have the Japanese side where you can kind of get a rough estimate of what things are going to be. Magic's not really like that. You just got to go on a name, and the most popular format is Commander. It's the most played format, and a master set of Commander cards. I was like, it's gonna be a home run. This is it. So at the price point, everyone was like, you should have known. You should have known. It was too expensive. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, they have to put some juice in here for that to warrant that price. They have to. They can't just make a regular booster box and sell it as, sure, there was a lot of good reprints in the product, but in my mind, I was like, they're going to put some crazy box topper in it, some special treatment cards, some one-of-one stuff, some serialized something, but it was literally nothing. Just the reprints, and it got completely rejected by the market. And day one of release, they were on Amazon $50 less than wholesale a box, and my cost for a set booster box was $325. That's my cost. My cost. So,
wow,
it was pretty bad.
What was
a lot of sleepless nights?
Was the price because of distribution getting greedy, or was that actually the price down from Wizards of the Coast?
I don't know. I have no idea what distributors buy their products for. It was probably directly from Wizards of the Coast. I mean, sure, the distributor has to make money, but they take small cuts here and there, 7-10%, whatever it is.
They move volume typically.
Yeah. So, it was an expensive product straight from the top, down.
But you had to break yours apart in order to get rid of it, right? So you had to break everything. I opened
everything. Yeah.
Jesus.
Man. It was a long time. It took me, I think one day I spent 16 hours, didn't eat, drink, nothing. And I just opened packs all day.
Some people would just on a mission. They would drool hearing somebody say, I just open packs all day long. It's not that fun after 10 hours.
Yeah, that day, I think I burnt through 12 cases of set boxes and about 7 master cases of collector boxes. And there are 24 boxes per case.
Yeah, the strongest fingers of any man alive.
Oh, my God. Yeah, my thumbs were like... Because I usually cut the packs with a scissor.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Just so I take like 5 together and cut them and just dump it in your hand. It's easy. A lot faster. But with these, they were so I didn't want to cut into a card because I've done that a bunch of times. I'm like, I can't. So I actually opened every pack. Yeah.
Oh, man. Forearms are so sore the next day. You couldn't even go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Terrible. So then you kind of, I think you have a good point as well, because I've seen some of the same thing even for myself and on a very, very small scale. But once you are getting so many of the same cards, whether it's collections or singles you're buying, and then you're mixing it with sealed product, once it's on the store, and I think you use the same thing I use, Binder POS for your integrations, right? So like there's no tagging, these 10 cards came from this and these 50 can't. No, it's they just get dumped on the website and that's it. So at some point it's 100 of something. I sold it. I don't know which one that came from, and was that profitable or was that one, a bad buy? I sold them all. So
there is none. There's no tracking that. There's no, you may, is the bank account up this month or is it down this month? It's up, we did good. It's down, we lost money. Okay, that's it.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Can I make the payroll? And if so, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Yep.
No.
Lights are on.
Pay the bills. Did you also think about what you now have in inventory in terms of your capital? Like how much do you have sitting just in inventory in a given moment, in a month or a year?
Oh, a lot. I mean, we opened the doors with $19,000 in inventory, sealed and singles. And we have probably over 7 figures in just like single cards and stuff like that.
Across all the different distribution.
Yeah.
TCG and
across,
whatnot. Okay.
In just singles, not sealed product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But do you think singles, because you crack a lot of yours, and I think what's one of the things that's different, at least nowadays in Pokemon, I know some others have shared with me their experiences, early on in Pokemon, you could crack a box and make your money back. But now it's like, you don't do that in Pokemon. Like that's not an option at all.
No, only pre-release. Like set's not out yet. You can sell them and kind of break even, and the bulk is the profit. But
exactly.
Now, after release, no, you lose half your money opening anything Pokemon related.
But Magic seems to be somewhat different, though. I mean, it seems to have more value in the box.
Yeah, well, I always look at a set or a card game, and I always look at this, secondary market and the evenly distributed value in cards. Pokemon's very top heavy, so there's either a $600 card and then bulk. Sure, there's like $15 card here and there, or $20 card here and there, but with Magic, it's much more spread out. So you have there's never that like $100 card or $200 card in a standard set, and then it drops down to almost nothing because it's very, very played. Like it's the most played game. So people need to build decks. So what that does is makes a very healthy overall value in the product, like as far as the $5 to $20 range of cards.
Okay. Which
is what we primarily make our money on.
So even the lower tier of Magic sits, at $5 or so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like when I first opened, I literally had no Magic singles, 0. Like I bought and sold and for a little bit beforehand, but I had no Magic singles really. I had maybe $300 worth of singles when I opened the doors, and I just started cracking product all the time. Like every week, 3 cases of this standard set, then this one, then this one. I would always try and break even just to build inventory. And I still do that to this day, but with higher volume and not with booster boxes. I don't do booster boxes anymore.
Is that because of the premiums?
No, just because
hit rates.
It's borderline break even, at best. And I'd rather roll my money into like things I know I'm going to make money on, like commander decks and things like that make really good money and have really good margin because the distributors are clearancing them.
Okay. Right. And do you see the same thing in, like we see in Pokemon, where the booster box typically has a premium over other products in Magic and others, or is that different
What
in terms of like
do you mean
overtime?
by? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, overtime.
Yeah. It's getting to be a lot harder with Magic because of it takes a lot longer for things to kind of go up. But they do, but it does take a very long time with Magic. There's some products that are still like below wholesale that came out like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Wow.
So it does take a little bit longer, but it eventually does, go up. But
do you see some of the prices? If you look back on some of the Pokemon stuff, and you may not know, but if you go back to, for example, E-Series or even base sets, you're talking $20,000-$30,000 boxes for just a single booster box. Do you see those same kind of premiums over 20 years plus now in Magic? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. They're like, if you have a 20-year-old booster box of Magic, they're pretty valuable.
Okay.
I just bought a few boxes of Judgment, which is something that I, played when I was younger. It came out in 2002, I believe. And those boxes are around like, $800 to $900. It doesn't, like, if you buy a box of Pokemon from 2002, it's a lot more than $800 or $900. But I would say Pokemon from that era is definitely worth a lot more. But they do go up quite a bit.
Okay. I was curious. Again, I don't have experience there. It's not something I've been a part of. Some more love from the community for you there, Rob.
Hey, what's up?
Give it just a second.
Oh, we don't have anymore. No. Yeah, why? It says we have? No, we don't have. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No worries, man. No worries. That's the troubles of running a business, right?
Yeah.
And being the man. So being the man here, you also got some more love from Joshua Gitter here.
Hey, Joshua. What's up, man?
Maybe rolling it back, not exactly to Commander Masters, but what was kind of your biggest lesson that you've learned in running this 2 years so far? What's one of the biggest takeaways you've kind of sat back and said, oh, okay, I won't make that mistake again?
Oh, mistakes. Yeah. FOMO. We suffer from it too. It's not just,
not the collectors
and investors. And, I see something and I think it's going to be a net positive for the store and a great product, home run, can't lose. Maybe I should rethink it a little bit and slow my roll.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that we all have that same problem. And whether it's the dollar signs or whether it's the fancy cards inside, we all tend to make that poor decision from time to time. And we get reminded just how poor that decision can be. It's not all going to win for us. Do you have the same in contrast on the side of success? What was kind of one of your biggest successes in the business so far?
Hiring my first employee. I put it off for so long. I put it off for probably, actually my second employee. Hiring my second employee. I put that off for like 6 months. My first employee I hired pretty quick. But my second employee, I should have did that a lot sooner.
The first one didn't alleviate enough of the workload for you to see a big difference. Is that why?
Yeah. He was pretty much just opening the store while I was at work.
Okay.
Because I was still working full time for the first like 6 months. I was
okay.
open.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Because you were doing warehouse work, right?
Yeah, I worked in a warehouse loading tractor trailers, and one pallet at a time. I built this.
That's an awesome story though, man. So your second employee was probably the biggest gain, and I think I had something in here for employees in terms of some of the biggest strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, there's a lot of pitfalls, but there's also a lot of benefits to hiring employees. What would you say some of those contrasts are for you at this point? Strengths and then weaknesses.
Right. Well, you just gotta understand that no one's gonna be perfect. No one's gonna run the business like you want it to, because they don't own the business, you know? So you just have to let things go sometimes.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. Get good cameras and cross your fingers.
Well, I was going to actually ask you about that because it led a little bit into obviously anytime you have a physical store, you know, theft can become an issue more so than obviously when if you're just online only. Not necessarily with employees, but you can't discount that perspective either. Has it been a big issue for you having a physical store, and is theft a big issue?
But yeah, I mean, it always is. We've had several things happen where like, because all of our inventory is integrated, like around all the different selling platforms. So like there's certain stretches in time where like a week I'll sell like 5 or 10 cards and I just can't find them anywhere. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, is someone stealing, or did I enter in something wrong, or someone bought, you know what I mean? Because there's so many cards that it's like almost impossible to do everything 100% correct as far as inventorying. So things do happen occasionally where you miss inventory it. Sometimes there's integration issues. There's an outage on your integration and things don't work properly. So now you have like 1,000 cards listed on eBay that you don't have anymore. And it's like, oh no, I got to figure this out. Like, or all my employees stealing from me. You don't know, but that's where the good cameras come in.
But I mean, you even know where to go back. Like, what day do I look at?
Exactly. Do I want to spend the rest of my life looking at a freaking screen and looking at footage?
Just write it off, email the customer, say, sorry, we don't have the product, refund, move on.
Due to an inventory issue, we no longer have this card, and I'm sorry.
But as far as customers, though, it hasn't been too big of an issue. No big concerns.
No, not really. No. I mean, I'm sure it has happened, but as far as me, as far as me knowing someone did it, knowing who did it or whatever, I don't want to live looking at a security footage unless obviously I'm like, there was something right here and it's gone now and no one bought it. Then of course I got to do some
that's
recon.
a little different.
Yeah, but you know, if it's not worth my time. Yeah.
It's very different when it's something like that.
If all my if a first edition Charizard goes missing, you better be damn sure, you know, I'm rolling back the cameras. But you know,
outside of that, it's just write it off.
Professor's research goes missing. I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Next, put that at 0. Update. We're done.
Problem solved.
Yep, easy peasy. One of the things that I've seen is some pretty heated, I would say, players in other TCGs. Do you get a lot of the customers get heated during the matches and losing and any arguments or fights? No,
not here, because I don't foster that like ultra sweaty type of, you know, competitive, I gotta win. You're playing for packs, we're having a good time, enjoy yourself.
Okay, maybe that's back to your point on having to have like a high premium to some of the Magic, and once you would have that kind of high prize pool, maybe that would bring those types of people that I'm referring to.
It does, it definitely does. That's why I have a tendency to do most of my prizing as like just participation. Like if you come to any of my pre-releases, especially for Magic, I raffle off a collector booster box, and all you really have to do is play. You know, And that is the most fair thing, I think, because pre-release for anything, you're getting a lot of new people. So I don't want to make those people feel bad.
Right.
And I want them to have a fair shot at getting something.
But also maintain your current customers that are consistent as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting balance. And it sounds like with your store, potential innovations there you're going to be doing, you're going to be focusing a lot more on the store play. So, I mean, you're kind of changing the layout for your retail space. You're focusing on getting more tables and more ability to get more people in. So that definitely sounds like it's growing there. So that's positive.
Yeah, everything's growing. Magic is kind of like been stagnant as far as like constructed 60 card format. But Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon growing every week. Today we just had 28 people playing.
Nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
good, man. Really? Yeah. I'm just not around it enough. I'll talk to my local store a little bit, and he talks a little bit about, I mean, I'll be fair though. The store is heavily Pokemon. Now that I think about it, they don't have a lot of Magic in there, which I think was also something I was curious about from your point of view. And I've heard Mason speak about it as well. Do you think you can actually have a successful business running just one TCG?
I don't think so.
It's going to be tough.
Very tough. Because you get one bad set, there's nothing to supplement it. You're just, what do I do?
Try to ride it out, pull some old vintage from the back.
Like what people didn't understand during that whole Commander Masters debacle is that, I don't just do that. We have a lot of other things we do. There's things that could float us to the next set. Arcana did help that.
Well, and the fact that it is going at a good price too. I mean, I think there was pretty good margins there for any store that was selling, from what I understood.
Yeah. And we pre-sold a lot of our boxes at MSRP leading up to that point. We opened up the doors. We had 2 booster boxes for sale. I thought I didn't get my final allocation until I would say 3 weeks before I got it.
Oof.
Because, my sales rep was being like, he was like, it's going by total spend in your TCG category. So you're killing it. You're going to get a lot. And I'm like pre-selling like crazy. And then he's like, wait, hold on. You only got 24 boxes. And I think I sold like 20 at the time. And I was like, oh shit, let me turn off the button. Yeah.
Out of inventory. Turn it off.
Right. Thank God we didn't oversell. Because I would hate to cancel orders. So I'd never do that. I would buy from another person just at an inflated price just to fulfill the order.
I was curious, when it comes to the pre-order perspective, are you always selling what you're basically being told your allocation is? Or are you just trying to guess? Or are you using that as a feed to get allocation? Yeah,
I tend to only put my pre-sales up when I get my final allocation. But we were on such an aggressive growth path that I was like, oh, there's no way we're getting less than this. And we did a lot less. But yeah, normally I don't put my pre-orders until I have my final allocation numbers.
Okay. Because I would always hate, you hear the horror stories of people just pre-selling and then always just having to refund and not have the product.
Yeah, that's a bad business model because you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul at that point. It's like, you're just like,
yeah,
I think I'm getting this. I hope I'm getting this. Let me just sell a bunch and cross my fingers.
See what happens.
Yeah.
And even in, other businesses, you typically can't take, because we've done e-commerce for 20 plus years in some other companies I've worked at, and you can't even charge the credit card until you ship the product. So all you're holding is an authorization for the credit card and the amount of whatever the order was. But until you actually ship it, you don't actually claim the funds.
Yeah, I wish that was a way I could do that. That would be, but Shopify don't run like that.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
It claims the funds immediately. Thinking a little bit back on the distributor model, though, I was curious as well. That relationship obviously started, as you said, in 2018-ish, around that time frame. But you had to foster that a lot. What is it like trying to manage multiple distributors now and the demand? And it's, I would imagine, always a push to buy more and buy more and buy more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's that relationship like to keep it healthy?
Well, your main will always be your main. That's, that's your dealer, that's your main connect.
This is car dealer, kids, car dealer.
Yeah. When I first opened, it was a lot different. It was hard to get Pokemon, like so hard that like I had to literally just pre-order at every distributor. And just, if I got everything, I would have been crushed financially. You have to literally order that much. And now it's gotten to a point where my allocations are high, so I don't have to, spread my money out so thin with all the distributors, that I can just funnel into one. And, that turns into more deals because they know you take everything and you're going to take all this stuff, just like I did with Commander Masters. I could have, the day of release, the day they call me to charge my card or take money out of my account, I could be like, you know what, give me half. But that sours the relationship. Right. And there's been countless times where, a distributor has called me and it's like, we have a deal on this product for this. You want it? Yeah, give me all of it. They, because they know if it's a good deal and I'm going to make money flipping the singles, I'm taking it all. So that's where, you got to get that relationship going with your distributor, and you got to be the guy they call to take the stuff they can't sell. To a point.
But I mean, how did you start early on? I mean, it had to be tough because, trying to buy more, ask for more allocations, but obviously at a very limited dollar amount, especially when you have the other job.
Yeah.
Were you just rolling in, okay, I'm going to do 1,000 more this month and then 1,000 more the next month? What was your approach?
Well, when I first started, me aggressively cracking all this product to just get singles really grew my allocation. That was like, because if you constantly reorder and restock, it shows a trend and it goes, by total spend. And even if I was breaking even, I didn't care. Just as long as I was spending more money, didn't care. Break even, whatever. I have this job. I'm going to break even, grind for, however long it takes me just to build to a point where I can, be comfortable with what I get.
Did you already have TCG players at the time?
I was already a direct seller too when I first opened.
Okay. So you had all that in place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That helped a tremendous amount.
Oh yeah. Cause you could just, the amount of like cards that people buy in Magic is just astronomical. It's way more than any card game ever. Like you could sell, I have people that I talk to that just sell Pokemon, and they, they have hundreds of thousands of cards like me, but I like 10x their volume.
Wow.
Just because of the sheer amount that people buy and build decks.
I have to learn some more about Magic. I just don't know enough. Do they hold the same world tournaments and everything else as well? Does it go about the same way? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a lot bigger than I think it is, and I'm just in my own little Pokemon bubble then.
Yeah, I mean, as far as player base, it's way bigger. There's far less collectors in Magic than in Pokemon. The collectors in Magic are more into the old stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll switch it slightly over to a different topic. And it's one I haven't heard you talk too much about, but I have to be honest, I haven't watched every one of your videos, but I've watched most of them. What's your perspective on graded cards?
I have been dipping my toe into the graded market. We are a dealer for DGC. We do stuff with them. I tried to do PSA, be a dealer, but it's like very hard to break into that. Just because they want you to it's like just like a distributor. They want you to have like $250,000 spent in a year in order to like be even considered to get preferred pricing and just grading fees. And I'm just like, I don't really want to. It's not worth my time. CGC was like, come on in. You got a store.
Buddy.
Yeah, you're a dealer. So I went with them. Now their new labels are really nice. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But it's very weird because with Pokemon, like that's crazy. You could throw like a $4 card in a slab and it turns into a $20 card, $40 card, which I just don't get.
Yep.
But with Magic, it's a little different. Any new card, you can't grade it. It's just not going to,
really,
unless it's like, I mean, you can, but no one's going to buy it.
Like
it's just, there's not that type of collector base in it.
Interesting.
The more into it, once you get into the older stuff, like I would say revised is like probably what's that, the fourth set? I forget. Was it alpha, beta, unlimited, revised? Yeah, fourth set. So once you get that and back, like if you get like I've been doing this for a while now, like with selling graded Magic cards, a PSA 10 like lightning bolt you can buy for like $4 or $5. And if not a PSA, did I say PSA 10?
Yeah, you did.
No. Raw copy is like $4 or $5 in near mint. If it gets a 10, like I sell them on eBay for like almost $100. So it's like a huge profit margin. But the odds of it getting a 10 are like, there's a lot of 9s, a lot of 8s, a lot of 7s, which don't sell for quite as much. But the 10s,
interesting.
Yeah, because they were played. They were played on concrete. There's no sleeves invented at the time. It was just you played with a rubber band on your steps. Like you got your deck in a rubber band. I'm here to play.
You wrapped it around.
Yeah, it was things didn't exist to protect your cards. It wasn't a thing. So the amount of like PSA 10s of that specific card, or even getting a 10 in that card, are really, really, really slim. Anything from that era.
Yeah, I definitely would say, and Retro could speak to it better than I, but modern Pokemon, you can just double and triple your money by grading them, and of course if it's popular and it's something that somebody wants, but you can just grade energies all day long. But still, it's very, very interesting. And I was wondering if you were selling it, if you were playing in the market a little bit in terms of business model.
I've been running weekly auctions on eBay with Pokemon and Magic.
Okay.
It went really well. Certain cards didn't get the dollar amount that I wanted, but there was other cards that like got $30 or $40 above what I thought it would. And I'm just like, okay, so it's kind of the same thing then,
Right.
One card gets less, one card gets more. It's just like whatever at that point.
Bank account's positive. Let's buy some more.
Yeah. That's it. And that's business.
Do you send off a lot every month? I mean, are you really making this like a part of a cycle, or just dabbling a little bit?
I was trying to before like Commander Masters and everything. I was trying to like really, dive into the graded scene, but I kind of slowed down just because I'm like, I really don't need to be doing another thing. I'd rather just put my head down and focus on like what I know and what I know makes money,
right?
Which is like the business model I inherited with like the Roca and opening sealed product and knowing the margin before I even buy the product.
And Magic's really been your home run then for this.
Yeah, because I just know it, and I know what sells. I know what people play, and from me just buying so much Magic, it's just I get sort of preferred pricing on a lot of like clearance stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. And we can see here, and this is actually a good point. NYC Aqua here talks about still playing with the card from '07. And that's another thing with, and again, I don't know, so you can educate me here, but in the Pokemon space, if it's standard play, you have to keep with what's in rotation. Whereas Magic, I think you can go all the way back, right?
Well, Magic, there's different formats. There's standard, which is dead. No one plays it because of, Magic Arena. There's Commander, which is what pretty much everyone plays, and you pretty much use any card. There's a small, subset of cards that are banned, but that's the way the majority of people, play the game, is through Commander very casually. Then we got Modern, which is like a sort of a larger subset of cards, but not everything. And then there's Pioneer, which is like, kind of standard light. Yeah. There's so many different formats.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I knew that you were able to play much older cards in the current tournament play than you were a little bit easier on the Pokemon stuff, because the Pokemon stuff you're typically playing standard.
Yeah, most of our regional qualifying tournaments that were this year weren't standard. They were Modern or Pioneer,
Okay. Well, you mentioned eBay. I was wondering, have you tried eBay Lives yet? Have you done the eBay Live
I don't think that's like a public thing. I think you have to be like invited to that.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so they haven't reached out to you?
No, I'm not good at that. I tried Whatnot once, and it was a terrible experience, and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, delete your account. All done with that.
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta put on like a clown outfit, honk your nose, spin a wheel, pull a card out of a box, and Whatnot is just, I don't want to. It's not.
Yeah, it's not one that I even play with. I don't look at it. I don't watch it. I don't think I'm ever gonna mess with that one. Yeah, but I've heard some interesting things.
I tried, but it wasn't. Oh, eBay Live? I never even looked at eBay Live. Yeah.
Yeah. Old School Pokemon is one of the people that has been all into the eBay Live, and he's actually really been enjoying it. He said it's went really well. He's selling a lot, getting a lot of good turnaround, lots of live views, and so he's got a pretty good relationship with eBay, and he's done a pretty good job. So I'd be curious to maybe poke his brain one day and see how that's going over the course of time. If you're not into the lives, are you doing any of the collecticons or those kind of things? Do you step out of the store?
Not really. We are running our own show. September 23rd. We're gonna have our own show locally. My wife's running it.
Congrats, dude.
I think we just filled up with vendors, so really gonna start pumping out like ads and stuff like that in the upcoming weeks.
Oh man, you're starting a whole nother level. Congrats, Rob.
My wife is, not me. I was like, you run that. Yeah.
That's huge. Does she play Magic or?
Nothing. Not a single card game. She, used to run like a record label back when she was very young, and she used to, do all this kind of coordination with, running concerts and things like that. So this is something that like is in her wheelhouse, and she just wanted to do it. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
Here's a couple million. Let's try it.
Yeah. Okay.
I trust you, sweetheart. Go for it.
Yeah.
I think with that note, we'll probably switch over to the personal side just for a few, and then we'll close it up. So I appreciate the time, Rob. Yeah. Talk about your personal sacrifice. You've kind of touched on it a little bit. You also speak a lot in your videos. Obviously, to get to this point, you had to sacrifice a lot. Eating out, you talk about it, going out and partying, vacations, like all that stuff was just off the table. Are you still having to sacrifice as much? Are you able to take your vacations now? Like, where's your level of sacrifice at?
I took my pedal off the metal, a little bit. We did limit the vacations though, maybe 1 or 2 a year, probably 1 this year.
Okay.
Maybe next year we'll go on 2, but yeah, it was was 0 to 100 right before I opened the store. It was, nothing. We're not doing anything. Wearing the same pair of shoes for 3 years. I'm not, like
one pair of jeans.
Nothing. Yeah. And she was on board, thank God,
She understood the journey though.
Yeah.
This
is before we were married.
Okay. Which I think was a perfect point, because my next question was going to be around, tell us about the support you had to have from your partner throughout this, and how important that was.
Oh yeah, it's tremendous. If they're not on board, it's either the business isn't going to work or the relationship isn't going to work.
Right.
You can't have someone who doesn't understand and isn't there for doesn't understand that you're not going to be there for certain things just because, you have to run your business. And especially in the first 5 years, it's, make or break. And they have to be on board.
Yeah, you miss a lot of birthday parties and personal events and
everything.
Yeah, man.
Like Memorial Day, is there Labor Day? Labor Day's coming. Yeah. Labor Day. So Labor Day, there's people at barbecues and stuff like that. And she's like, do you want to go? I'm like, new set came out. I got to sort. And, I have things I have to do. It's never ending. So, it is what it is. And we're lucky that we, don't have kids and don't want to have kids. So if we did, it'd be
tough, man.
It would be so tough. Yeah. I think I'm getting a little too personal.
I know there was a time we were, it was 20, I could get my years wrong. I'm terrible with time frames, but it was 2014, I think. And I was traveling internationally. We were basically just did an acquisition of a large company. And so we were standing up new facilities around the world, and I was traveling all different countries. And we had just had our first son, just got married, and bought our house, all in the same 3 or 4 months.
3 big steps.
Yeah, do it all at once. Just get it all over with. And everybody said, "What are you gonna do when you're done?" That's right. But as my son got just a little bit older, I was still having to travel, and he looked at me one day and he says, "Why is Daddy always working?" I was like, "Dang, it breaks my heart." So I had to cut the travel back. Yeah, I had to cut the travel back a little bit. Still had to do some, but in those early years of a child, you want to be there for some of that. And you can't miss every birthday. You can't miss every. You gotta go to some of that stuff. And I'm glad I did. I don't travel as much anymore, but just kind of echoing your thought there. Having the kids changes a lot. And still need to bring the money home, but try to find ways to do it so you can still be a dad and be a parent. So I'll join you on the personal side, so you're not alone, man. Don't worry. Tell me, what is maybe your goals for the next 1 to 3 years, Rob? What are you wanting to achieve, man? What are you looking? I know you don't make big plans, you don't write it down, you just kind of go for it. But I'm sure you got some visions in your head. What are your kind of just some thoughts, some dreams?
Well, I do want to get a second location. That would be, great. But I would like to, get additional warehouse space. That's the next thing, like a bigger, more cohesive, because to be completely honest with you, it's tough. I get pallet deliveries and my warehouse is above the store.
You're moving.
Yeah. It's it takes 2 or 3 hours to break down a pallet. Think about it. 300 booster boxes. I have one hand truck. You know how many trips that is?
You don't have a dock for them to drive up to?
No. Thank God I have an elevator.
Well, don't worry. It looks like we're getting community help, so they'll store stuff at their house for you, Rob.
He's one of my regulars.
Perfect. He said he's got your back.
Now Pokemon guy.
All right. Welcome to Pokemon then. I can imagine. And when you said you bought that new warehouse, and even though it was close by, I think you said, still having to move inventory across and
this is the third move. This is the third warehouse move.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, so we started off in like a very small, like 400 square foot, little tiny, like it felt like the back rooms. There was no windows. It was just like, it was very claustrophobic. And then someone else moved out. So I was like, let me get that. And, my landlord, she was like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. And then the building got bought and she's no longer my landlord and I'm sad. But, the new guy, he's all right. And this unit across opened up and I was like, I'll take both. And he was like, he wanted the other unit. So then we like kind of negotiated. I took a little bit more and we took down the walls in here. So
okay.
It's a little bit bigger, but I always jump in and then I'm like, oh, I outgrew it. And then I outgrew it again. And then I outgrew it again. And I'm just like,
that's a good problem to have, though, Rob.
yeah, it is, but it's also like I moved everything here. Like it goes far back. I moved this all myself alone.
Rob,
just because
you got 5 employees, man. Get some help, dude.
Yeah, but they got to run the store. They got to do the operation. They got to do other things. I was like, I got this.
Just throw a pizza party, buy a couple of beers, man, and say, "Come on over. We'll do it all together, just one night." Close the store.
I like to suffer alone.
I understand that. Yeah, suffer in silence by yourself.
Yeah,
I fully understand. Well, then we'll close it, Rob. To not put you through any more suffering here with us today.
No, I'm having a good time.
That's good. I enjoyed it, man. We always ask 2 questions at the end of our lives. One of them specific to you and kind of what you specialize in, and one of them's more about kind of a legacy. So if somebody was going to open up a new business today and they were looking to do this in a brick and mortar, what would be your advice to that person? Other than don't do it, because I think that's probably going to be your first answer.
No, do it. If you really want to. See, that's the thing. Like, there was no force on this planet that could have, well, besides my wife, that could have like prevented me from opening this store or wanting to. There's nothing you could have told me that would have swayed me. So if you really want to do it, just do it, man. Like, you'll have no other choice if this is your only option. Like, you'll have to be successful. And that's the main reason why I left my job, just because I had to do it. There was no backup plan.
So that was the kind of kick in the butt that you gave yourself to force it to happen.
Yeah. And you can actually see the growth. Like, if I go to like the charts, the day I left my job, it's just like,
you did at least have some profits coming in when you did it, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So he's not saying quit your job without
no.
without anything coming in.
No.
He obviously was doing both for a while. So yeah.
I saved aggressively for many years, and saved like 3 to 5 years of just my expenses, so I didn't have to pay myself a single dime, and reinvest everything into my cardboard kingdom.
You know what the beautiful thing is too is that you're still sitting here doing this and you have a smile on your face. And it may be because I just look, stupid and ugly, but otherwise I think you're still in your videos, you're smiling, and even in the tough times, and it's obviously to sometimes prevent from crying, but but it's also some joy. You can see it. And so I think it's, when you have that
everything's
joy,
a new experience.
Yeah. Love it, man. Love it. All right. Last one, Rob. Last one. One day we're all going to be gone. We're all going to leave, whatever it is that we're doing.
Which is why you should open your store.
Exactly. Right. Thank you. I'll talk to my wife after this phone call. What is it you hope to leave when you're gone? What legacy do you hope to leave that's beyond you and stays in the hobby, man?
Wow. I don't, that's an interesting question. Very, I don't think I'm going to leave anything really. Like,
no,
I'm just some guy who owns a card store.
That's your modest answer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just an average guy, you know. I didn't grow up with anything, you know. We were very middle to low class income, and I want people to try, you know, try more, take chances, take a risk, you know, put yourself out there, because you're never gonna know unless you do. And you don't want to be, you know, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, being like, man, what if I
I
would have
wish I
done
would have
that?
tried. Yeah.
Yeah.
If only I would have
Just,
given it a chance. Or
yeah. I won't, you know, I want people to look back and look at me and be like, this guy took a risk and I'm going to take a risk. I want people to just do it. Just go out there, jump and the net will appear. That's it.
just jump
Fit
it.
in there. Just
Yeah,
do
it'll
it.
get right.
It'll
You may
work out.
fall for a while, but
You
the net
will. You
will show
will.
up.
You will make mistakes. You will get crushed. You will. Mistakes will happen. You will lose money, but every time you lose money, you get better. You fix your processes, and you just consistently get better every time.
I love it, Rob.
And that's the main. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent now.
No,
That's
please. Yeah. No
that's
rush.
the main issue with a lot of game stores, especially you know, in this industry. It's run as a passion project. Did we already cover this?
No,
Or
please
did we
go
say
ahead.
that? Okay.
No, it was in the pre-call.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's run as a passion project and not, you know, as a business. You know, a lot of these stores are opened up by people that have already retired and just want a place to play. And, you know, those places are good and everything, but they don't work out for long term because they're not a business, they're a hangout. So take a risk, run it like a business, because it's your business and it's your name. So do it right. And that's it.
Go all the way, man. Go all the way. I love it. Rob, you probably know, but we don't take time lightly here on Pokemon Wonder. So really, really appreciate you spending it with us, taking the opportunity to come on the channel and share your thoughts and your experiences and your lessons learned. And we really, really do appreciate it, Rob. Thanks, man. Thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And anybody's going to watch afterwards. We got RNG-Gamez, social media, all of his sites, all the links are in the description of the video. If you don't have them already, please do check it out. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Stay tuned also for next week. We got Ray from Shining Cards and Collectibles will be on Thursday at 8 p.m. And we have a bunch of more guests coming up soon. So stay tuned for those as well. And I'll ask one thing from everybody here that's watching today or in the future, and that is just put a smile on somebody's face. Make the world just a little bit better than it is today, and I think we could all use it a little bit better. And other than that, wish everybody a great night, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Peace.